Now, if you want to talk about a huge following when it comes to premium loudspeakers for the car environment, then Focal has to come into the conversation. Today, we're going to have a focus specifically on the front stage and the different opportunities that lie within the Focal catalog when it comes to speakers. We've got their product specialist, Grant McFatter, joining us, and we're going to break it down. This is CMA Connected, brought to you by Sirius XM, all about Focal, and it starts now. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another CMA Connected, brought to you by Sirius XM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and today's going to be a fun one because we get to talk some high-end audio, and you know I totally geek out on this stuff. Now, Grant, we're talking Focal, so it's always going to be a pleasure talking about the technologies, the materials, and really the legacy that makes Focal what it is and why it's such a sought-after brand within the car audio space. Can you give us an overview, perhaps, of what we'll be discussing on today's Connected?
Focal's got a massive catalog, so what I wanted to focus on today was the brand new K2 Power EVO series component speakers. In fact, the entire family of that line of products. There's a brand new Flax 12-inch subwoofer we're going to talk about as well. We're going to talk about an opportunity on the Polyglass last edition opportunity for those as they close out that line, or maybe we keep it going for a while. And last but not least, we're going to talk about three-way solutions because in our catalog, we probably have the largest selection of three-way component speakers.
Well, Grant, looks like it's a stacked episode waiting to unveil itself. But first, an opportunity for our partner, Sirius XM, to remind everybody why it's always a great add-on sale. And when we come back, let's dive deeper into what's going on at Focal.
Hi, Paul Truman here with Sirius XM. We reached out to some of our partners in the industry, and here's what they had to say.
I can't say more or enough about just what it means to have our unit working with Sirius XM. It's like we're there now.
The Sirius XM service is something consumers want, right? So it's Paul.
That allows a consumer to listen to either podcasts, entertainment, sports, all at their fingertips. It's all about engagement, and that's what Sirius XM provides.
Sirius XM is a huge component in a vehicle nowadays. Consumers expect that technology to be available both in our OEM system as well as the aftermarket upgrades that they're applying to their vehicle.
Alpine and Sirius XM, through our electronics, are able to offer the consumer on the aftermarket side Sirius XM 360L, which is an expanded platform for Sirius XM. And it's really been a beneficial relationship for us with Sirius XM.
As a dealer, just remember, we don't compete with anybody else. We are absolutely one of the best profitability accessories you can add to any head unit that is Sirius XM ready.
All right, welcome back to the show. Of course, we're talking about Focal with our guest, Grant McFatter, representing Trends Electronics, the Canadian distributor for Focal. Now, Grant, at the very top of the list, this series of product really made a buzz when it came out late last year because, well, it's a favorite amongst many, especially audiophiles. But what makes this particular series very special is going to be the power handling performance. And I'm sure you're going to talk us through a little bit of the special characteristics and the design and the engineering of these ones. Of course, we're talking about the K2 Power EVO series. Grant, what can you tell us?
So in the K2 Power EVO series, there's a massive amount of products. And what I want to focus on today is basically four key new SKUs that really were added to the lineup or had significant changes to them. So if you check out the slide, shows you the family of products. And yeah, when you look at that, it could be a little intimidating. You know, you've got a 6.5-inch three-way. You've got four different 6.5-inch component kits, a 4-inch component kit, a 6.5-inch coaxial, a 10-inch and 12-inch big beefy magnet, not shallow mounting depth woofers. And then you've got the brand new shallow 10-inch subwoofer. So it is a large family for one category of products in the catalog. So out of that family of products, I picked on four SKUs that I think have the most amount of changes to it and really have added to the catalog. So the first one I want to talk about is the ES165 K2SE. A lot of letters, a lot of numbers. This is the brand new shallow mounting depth Kevlar speaker. So you've got those hot rods that you want to build, but there's not a lot of room in the kick panels or down the door sills. If you've got a Subaru WRX or an older Honda Civic or something that we don't have a lot of mounting depth, that's where the speaker is going to fit. So this component kit, we got a chance to listen to these at SEMA last year when they introduced them. Didn't come out until earlier this year, but we got to hear them at SEMA. And this shallow component speaker set does not sound like a shallow speaker at all. Same with the subwoofer. These do not sound like shallow subwoofers. So mission accomplished by giving the installer flexibility on the mounting depth, but also retaining that sound quality that Focale is famous for. So these have been a real godsend for a lot of the shops we do hot rods with, because you can see the mounting depth there. You're gaining about an inch of depth over the regular K2 Power 6-inch driver with those shallow mounting speakers. The two component kits in the middle are relatively the same as the previous models. This is the flagship 6.5-inch component two-way kit. What they've added this year, though, is the biggest difference is on the tweeter itself. So they've gone from the regular yellow Kevlar tweeter to the frac tweeter, which is available in the K2M series above this line. So we were all wondering, what are they going to do to make Kevlar sound better? Because it already sounded incredible. But adding this tweeter in here and having this tweeter be able to play a lot lower has made a significant increase to the sound quality and the applications for these different speakers. So two-way kit, the biggest upgrade is on the tweeter itself, and they've done the same thing on the three-way kit, is they've given you that frac tweeter in the three-way component kit. There are two sets below this 6-inch component kit, the two-way kit. One is using the traditional Kevlar tweeter, and the other one is using a straight dust cap mid-bass driver instead of having the phase plug on it. And then last of the new products that came in was obviously the shallow 10-inch subwoofer, which I think was a missing link we needed from this line. A lot of guys love the Kevlar subwoofers, but can't fit them in their pickup truck. They can't fit them in the back quarter panel of their SUV or pickup truck or car. So this thing has really filled in a hole where we had before with the big, huge, massive KX2 woofers. These will fit in multiple different applications. And again, we got a chance to listen to these in SEMA in the Orchid booth. And they had two of these in a small ported enclosure, and we were shaking the walls in that building. So they sound phenomenal. The entire lineup is, my favorite. I mean, it's always been prestigious. The yellow cone. I remember selling this back in the early 90s when we were taking home audio drivers and putting them in cars. It was always the Kevlar cone. So biggest part of the family is the Kevlar series. And now with these four key products, I think it's a really amazing setup.
Well, Grant, it's obvious simply by the selection of different combinations of drivers and applications that this is certainly a go-to line for Focale. But in your experience in speaking with dealers and them installing this into customers' vehicles, what would you say, or why do you think this series means so much to so many people?
That's a great question. There's probably multiple different answers for that. For me, I grew up on this stuff as a young kid, seeing the yellow cone. So this has always been my favorite line, because that's where we started off with. But for a lot of dealers, it's number one, it's a high-end speaker. So for the guys that want really good sounding products, it delivers hands down. As far as a selection of products go, these additions in here have made it a lot more application friendly for different applications. But the performance is really what stands out with these. You get incredible sound quality. You've got gobs of power handling. You've got that customer that just absolutely wants to rip it on a Friday night, and you're questioning whether you sell him Utopia M, which is higher end than this, just because he's got money, or you're going to sell him Flax because he's got a little bit less money, but he's a meathead. Sell him the K2 Power, because it's going to give him the best of both worlds. It's going to sound incredible. It's going to take gobs of power handling on it, and the guy's going to be happy at the end of the day.
All right, that was some quick highlights of the new K2 Power EVO series. As you can see, so many different applications, so many different options. Choose the right one that fits the bill, and there you have it. All right, the Kevlar cone, of course, will always be a favorite amongst fans. Now, we move on to another really popular line. Of course, we're talking about the Flax, the proprietary cone material made the world over famous by Focale. But now they've got a new trick up their sleeve because, well, as we all know, space is a commodity and is very sought after. But guess what, guys? You can now get Flax performance in your subwoofer thanks to a new shallow version that Grant's going to talk about right now.
So we've had shallow 10-inch and 8-inch subwoofers in the Flax lineup before, but the feedback that Focale got for us crazy North Americans was we needed more bass in a shallower application. So in order to do that, they've actually developed a 12-inch Flax subwoofer to overcome our objections with not enough bass. They've given us this, guys. This is the P30 FSE. It's the brand new 12-inch Flax Shallow Subwoofer, just under 4¼ inches mounting depth between the underside of the basket and the magnet itself. So most pickup trucks, you can fit this in an enclosure to fit what would normally have a 10-inch. So 12-inch cone, a lot more cone area means more bass. This is going to be a SKU that we're going to see over the coming year and into next year grow and grow in demand because of its application. 12 inches of base. These will work in 16 to 20 liters of airspace, so 0.5, 0.7 cubic feet. Really small enclosure, larger cone diameter, so you're going to get more output.
You know, it doesn't cease to amaze me how these brands have engineered, products such as these shallow subwoofers to be able to perform the way that they do. And I'm sure this Flax Shallow Sub is no exception. So, one question I have for you, when we're talking about balancing out the system or system design, Grant, what kind of power would you recommend for this particular 12-inch?
RMS rating on these, Ben, is 300 watts RMS, 600 watts peak. We do have guys running 500 watts RMS into these off of the FPX 1000 amplifiers. It's 1,000 watts RMS. No problems at all. So they're designed for 300 watts. You can put into as much as 500 watts or more. Really, really impressed with the amount of output you get versus the previous 10-inch version. Obviously, that extra cone area makes a big difference.
All right, so you've been following along. Of course, we're talking about Focal and many different newer products that have come out. So when it came to this next product on the list, Grant, I have to say I was a little bit curious, not because it's not a great product, because the Polyglass series has been a favorite for a long time amongst enthusiasts, especially at the price point and the value that you get. So what's going on with the Polyglass series from Focal?
Ben, the Polyglass has been around for a long time. I mean, I've been doing wholesale for almost 20 years now, I guess. And I sold this when I was doing retail. So the Polyglass clone's been around for a long time. And it was one of my favorites as a go-to because it hits a price point that most people aren't expecting. So for that customer that wants, is expecting this much performance, but is getting that much value on it, that's where Polyglass really comes in. You're getting a far superior product in the price category that it's in. So there's 2 SKUs left in the line. There was more before, but there's 2 SKUs currently in the lineup. And if you look on the boxes, they have a LE on the coaxials, and then they have a last edition version on the component kit. So this is supposed to be our last edition of these. That's what the LE stands for, of this series of products, because slate fiber was supposed to take over for Polyglass. And you'll see some similarities that we'll talk about in a second here, but slate fiber isn't as full of a line as this is. And then dealers around the world still love this product because of the price point it hits. So they've kept it in the lineup. Maybe if worldwide sales keep going, they'll keep it in the line for a few years longer. But the idea is it's going to transition over to the slate fiber business. So I'll talk about a couple of the features on it. First of all, you've got a cast basket, so cast aluminum basket. You've got a polycone, and then you've got the Polyglass beads on here, basically, that give you a super stiff cone. So you've got a lightweight cone with the polypropylene. And then you've got the glass beads in there to reinforcement. So your mid base is awesome. Detail is there. In the crossovers, similar to what you saw in the slate fiber video, is we have a separate crossover for the mid bass woofer and a separate crossover for the tweeter. You can link these together. If you're mounting at the amp rack, you can link those 2 crossovers together. But most people are either doing a tweeter up in the dash or in the top of the door, and they can mount that passive crossover in the kick panel or up in the dash somewhere for the tweeter. And then that goes either in the door or again in the kick panel for the mid-bass woofer. You don't have this big, massive thing you have to mount in the door of a car or in the kick panel. You can separate it out, so it makes the installer's life a lot easier. Tweeter, signature sound. This is a great sounding tweeter for the price point that it's at. Again, iconic in the Focal lineup, so it's a great sounding set of speakers. And then the coaxial speaker, just to round it off, in a 6.5-inch tweeter, is rotatable, so you can angle that tweeter where you want it, mount it up, you want it face it away from you. But this is probably the last time we'll see this again, unless worldwide sales go crazy of this product. So this is an opportunity while we have an aggressive price on these to get your hands on it, because it might be gone by the end of the year.
And our final topic of today's session is going to be one that is trending heavily. If anything, we've seen a lot more transition from 2-way component sets to 3-way component sets. Obviously, the advantages are, of course, the sonic qualities, but also for the trend of going active in these systems where every channel has its own amplification. Having said that, One that has mastered the three-way a long time ago and continues to do so is, of course, Focal. Now, Grant's got a couple different examples of just why Focal might be the ultimate solution if you're looking for three-way component sets.
Yeah, with today's cars, there's a lot more opportunity for three-way sales, right? You've got the tweeter up in the A-pillar, you've got the 3.5 or the 2-inch midler, or you got a 4-inch up in the dash, you've got a center channel up, in a lot of these newer cars. And obviously you got the 6-inch or 6x9 woofers in the door. So three-way has become a big market because there's more space in the car, more locations in the car than ever before. So we have always had a really good offering in a three-way component kit. But as you can see from the slide, we've got actually 5 different sets of three-way kits you can get. So from the Access series that's on the table in front of me is where we start off in our three-way kits, all the way up to the Utopia M. You know, we've got something in between for almost every listening level, budget, and price point that a customer could probably want. So Access, this is our starting point. You get a nice 6-inch, a 3-inch mid-range speaker, tweeter, passive crossover you can use, or if you want to use it, or if you want to use an active system, you can get rid of the passive. The Flax three-way kit, the Kevlar three-way kit with the new Frac tweeter. One of the cool things about these I like is they throw in this really cool little pod for A-pillar, or I've seen these in minivans and stuff like that, where they put it on the back wall and fire it off to the people in the back seats in the minivan. So instead of having to custom fabricate an A-pillar pod, they give you the pod included in the kit. And then for those strict audiophile guys, no passive crossovers for me. I got to have everything active. We have the K2M series products with a 6.3 tweeter. And then we also have the Utopia M for that ultimate sound quality guy with the 6 3-inch and the TBM tweeters as well. So as far as a range goes, I think we have, if it's not the biggest, it's one of the biggest offerings in car audio.
That was Grant McFatter, product expert from Trends Electronics, the official Canadian distributor for Focal products. If you're looking for more information on Focal, go ahead and find it out at their official website, focal.com. And if you happen to be a dealer in Canada and want to become the next Focal dealer, definitely hit up the team over at Trends Electronics and they'll set you all up. Here's my takeaway when it comes to Focal. Focal will and will always continue to be a leader in this segment, especially when it comes to speakers. This is a brand that has transcended category from headphones to pro to, sound quality, home audio file systems. But in car, it definitely has a special space. And that is because they continue to engineer and continue to put effort into pushing the envelope of what is possible when it comes to car audio. No, you need not look further than the catalog itself. Whether you're looking at the base model access line, working your way up all the way to Utopia M, which remains today, if not the most elite set of speakers attainable right now in the market, Focal is it gives the user a sense of prestige. And I think this is going to be the continued story when it comes to Focal. What they've demonstrated today is that they're also implementing energy to creating solutions. Evidence in the shallow subwoofer series, evidence in the different three-way components that they offer. At the end of the day, there is no mistake that any car audio shop that takes car audio seriously and is truly cares about the sound quality that their customers get, Focal should definitely be something that is in their catalog. That's it for this CMA Connected, brought to you by Sirius XM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.